So we have televised hearings and a meetup in the countryside that turned whispers about a crime syndicate into national news. I'm Matt Hasquin. I'm a high school history teacher, and I'm here to take you through Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire, line by line. In this episode, we're moving on to the Mafia. When Billy Joel sings Mafia, he's pointing to how organized crime moved from rumor to living room reality in the 1950s. After Prohibition's heyday, crime families kept making money through gambling and loan sharking and labor rackets and narcotics. And what changed in this decade was visibility. The country was finally beginning to see the scale. The turning point began in 1950, 1951 with the Kefauver Committee. Senator Estes Kefauver hauled bookmakers and bosses and fixers before a nationally televised inquiry. Millions watched these men in dark suits that dodged questions while they were under oath. And one unforgettable image was Frank Costello, filmed from the neck down. His hands were gripping the witness table as he tried to avoid identification. Television gave the syndicate a face, and the word mafia entered everyday conversation. Meanwhile, the underworld was shifting. In New York, bosses maneuvered for power. You had Albert Anastasia, who was assassinated in October of 1957, Vito Genovese, who pushed rivals aside after an attempt on Costello, and behind the scenes, the commission coordinated rules across the families. To the public, these were headlines. To law enforcement, they were hints that local cases were part of, a national network. Then came the day that changed policy. Appalachian, New York, November 14th of 1957. State troopers stumbled onto a country estate gathering of dozens of mob figures from across the U.S. and Canada. You had luxury cars that were jammed into the driveway. Some of the guests ran into the woods in their suits and polished shoes. The raid led to dozens of detentions and blew up the claim that a national organization did not exist. Inside the FBI, it triggered the Top Hoodlum program, which was a directive to every field office to track and pressure organized crime leaders as a coordinated threat. The aftermath of the meeting stretched into the 1960s. Federal tools were improved. You had wiretaps and tax cases and conspiracy charges, and also a public understanding that deepened with the Valici hearings in 1963, when an insider spelled out the structure of La Cosa Nostra. But the spark in Billy Joel's time frame is the 1950s moment when cameras and a country road meeting really kind of forced the issue. So why is this in the song? Well, because Mafia captures the instant when television, policing, and politics all converge to acknowledge a hidden system of power. The decade that sold suburban safety also put organized crime on prime time. So, to tie it back to the song, the one word mafia condenses the Kefauver's television theater, right? The hearings. Then you have the meeting at Appalachian, and then the policy shift that followed. And it was all proof that you could shine sunlight on all this, and it could actually change the law enforcement strategy behind it. And the reason why it matters, the Mafia line in the song explains how media exposure drives law enforcement reform. It's a lesson in networks. Local crimes can be symptoms of a national structure, and seeing that structure changes how a democracy responds. If you enjoyed this episode of We Didn't Start the Fire, the Mafia, leave a like, a comment, a follow, a share. Anything's great. I appreciate the support, because we're moving on from Mafia here, and the next thing we're going to tackle is hula hoops. Thanks for watching.